Nafeesa Dangor show where we were inspiring you with regard to emotional intelligence, a very inspirational talk from Brother Idris Kamisa, enticing us into a space to make us think about the type of ways we deal with problems and find the necessary solutions. And I think it taught us a lot. So we want to thank him for joining us on that segment. But talking about something very different and inspirational, as I was saying, it's going to be a very inspiring and educational afternoon. We're going to be speaking to Nadia Ebrahim. She's 38 years old, a travel agent by profession, specializing in incentive travel for South African corporates. But she has a passion for community awareness, documenting family and community heritage. So, in respect of that, she's celebrating the achievements of members of the Kokni community who have left their legacy to achieve something great and monumental. So, this afternoon, we're in conversation with her, and she's going to be talking to us about, and of course, she's representing the Kokni Legacy Project, which is going to be taking place in the form of a book. And she's going to talk to us about the purpose behind this whole thing. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Nafeesa, and to all of your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on the Nafeesa Dangor show. It's such an inspiration and an honor having you guys on the show this afternoon. So I'd like to, of course, thank you for joining me in enticing people into getting involved in this project. So should we say it the Kokni way? Kai Besona? I think we had to hit the note at some point.
Of course.
But let's talk about this. Talk to me about yourself. I mean, being a travel agent, and as you say, you have this passion for community awareness and wanting to find out about heritage, which I think is very important because many a time there's so many things that we miss out on in our lives and not realize how much people have contributed from where we were those many years ago to where we are today. And I think that's the most important thing, because the things that they did in their lives at that point in time has actually created the spaces that we're in today.
Yes, that is correct, Nafeesa. I mean, the thing is, coming from a rich Kokni family background, so, for me as a young South African Muslim Kokni woman, I identify as very strongly to my Kokni roots and heritage, and it is one of the reasons why I joined this project to document family members and friends and various people of Kokni origin, not just in the Western Cape, but all over South Africa and overseas, who also want to be part to document stories or anecdotes of family members, of friends, or even of themselves, because we feel there is not an actual publication where we actually have that sort of rich culture and heritage documented in South Africa. And that is why we decided, it's myself and two other colleagues from different walks of life, also of Kokni origin, we decided last year to come together and to work on this project, to document and to document our personal heritage in South Africa.
Yeah, and like when we talk about the Kokni heritage, I mean, people will probably ask the question, why only Kokni and not everybody else? But I suppose it starts from then. You never know what stems out of it going further. But I think it's important because the thing is, there's so many people in the communities, and I always say these unsung heroes that have contributed in so many directions, and yet they're not even known of. And we're sitting here today, probably in a space that they've created for us.
Yeah. So, Nafeesa, if I might just give you some background, for many of our listeners who are tuning in today and who are not familiar with the Kokni community. So many of our ancestors who came from the Kokni region of India, which is located in the Maharashtra area, just north of Mumbai. It's about, from Mumbai to our home village is about a 3 to 4 hour drive by car. The Maharashtra area is located on the western side of India, very close to Mumbai, and it includes villages like Morda, Chiplin, Ratnagiri, to name a few. And it's the area, it goes from Mumbai all the way down to Goa. And basically many of our ancestors came by boat from India between the late 1800s and the early 1900s by ship, and they settled mainly in Cape Town and made their way up to Johannesburg and Durban and other areas of South Africa. And during the there were many people that had who left a very valuable mark in our community,
Mm.
be it philanthropists, teachers, sports people, lawyers, doctors. But unfortunately, many of our people just had a corner shop or a butchery or just a convenience store or just made their own mark in our community. And over the
Mm.
years, we've just come to realize that there is not an actual publication documenting the lives and the history of these people who have left a mark in our community over the years.
Yeah, and I agree with you because the thing is, as we were saying earlier, it's so important to be able to understand that each person that had come through from there had created some form of mark of or have left some form of legacy behind, and we're hoping that their families pick up from that and follow through with that legacy. For example, I grew up with an uncle who is a philanthropist, and he gave back to the community in so many directions. And yet you ask yourself, how can you fill those shoes? Because the type of work that he has done is so monumental. It's actually scary because you ask yourself, would you be able to fill those shoes up with the types of things
Yeah,
and phenomenal stuff that they did to be able to create and uplift the people's lives in their communities as such?
yeah, exactly. And Nafeesa, just to give you a bit of background of the type of people who will be featured in the book. It can be anyone who was involved in trade and entrepreneurship, in education, any professional disciplines, in sports, cuisine, as well as philanthropy. And there are so many people from different walks of life. For example, your uncle who has left a valuable mark in our community. And we want to reach out not just to our members of the Kokni community, but anyone of any walk of life who's been in contact with a person of Kokni descent, who they feel has left a valuable mark, not just in their life, but in their community as well. Our aim is to produce a copy-style paper publication,
Mm-hmm.
kickstarting the first edition of 786 entries, celebrating our heritage with the history, biography, and photographs captured in a directory for future generations.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want this publication to be passed down to future generations of our grandkids and great grandkids, and hopefully we are then able to also kickstart a series of publishing more publications in the future. Inshallah, Ameen.
I think that's phenomenal because the thing is, we always talk about, and this used to happen in the days gone by. I don't know if it still does, but people used to talk about heirlooms. And we always used to keep something behind from someone that was there that created this mark in our lives, whether it was our grandparents or our great grandparents, and things get passed on from family to family. I think this is an amazing concept because what's going to happen is this particular book's going to get traveled on from generation to generation. And those marks and legacies are going to be left behind throughout. And I think that's what's so phenomenal about it because I think we need to start actually appreciating the types of marks and legacies certain people have left behind in order to move our particular community forward.
Yeah, that's correct, Nafisa.
Hmm. So, what does this mean for you from a purposeful point of view? Because I think it's an amazing project where you're kind of creating the awareness, not just for yourselves, but enticing others also to get involved in creating these legacy books, should we say, to be able to be a type of heirloom that's going to go forward, where we start actually appreciating the people that have been here before us to be able to make those marks. And as we were saying, philanthropists, doctors, those types of people have come to South Africa and have changed the lives of many people, not just the Cockney community as such, but have empowered and improved lives throughout many different other communities. So I think it's important to understand that although this is a Kokni project, it's meant to entice people to say that these are the legacies people have left behind in this particular community. But they, with what they've done, hasn't just empowered and uplifted this particular community, but
Of course,
many
yeah.
other communities as such. So there's been a real domino effect of the types of positivity they've created amongst the people they've been with.
Yeah, that is correct, Nafeesa. Absolutely.
So I think this is amazing coming from a point of view where we try to create purpose, because I always have one belief in me is that, we all on this earth and this planet to be able to create a purpose, and each one of us has been left here for a reason, and having to determine that purpose is what's important. So I think this book is also meant for that, is for us to look at it, get inspired by these people, to say these are the types of amazing things they've done. What do I have in me to be able to leave my legacy and my type of monumental something behind, so that when I'm not around, people look at me and say, well, she's done that. So this is what I have in me. So it's having to find your unique potential as well.
Of course. And Nafeesa, just coming back to the actual project, people can, members of our community, it can be in South Africa or overseas. I mean, if they've got family members, because I mean, our project has gone out to members of our Kokni community in the UK as well as India and Dubai, and to name a few places. So I mean, if there are people listening in and tuning in, and they know of a friend or a family relative or somebody that's left a positive impact on their life, who's of personal descent, they're welcome to submit either a half-page life story or anecdote, or even a full-page submission
Mm-hmm.
with a clear photograph of the person that they are nominating or writing on behalf of, and send that through to us, and we will be happy to include that into the publication.
Is there a particular deadline?
At the moment, because we just recently launched this project about 3 weeks ago, we don't have a set deadline as yet in which submissions need to be submitted. Our aim is or our goal at least, is to launch the publication in September on Heritage Day, which is the 24th of September this year.
Yes.
So it gives us enough time to allow members of our community or different walks of life to submit their submissions for the next month or two. Of course, closer to the time, we will give a cut-off date because we need to go into the design and the final edit of the book. But at the moment, there is no deadline, and
Okay.
people can contact me if they require more
Yes.
information.
Would you like to give us the address for them to actually send their nominations through to?
Of course. So they can contact me on WhatsApp, which is 082
Mm-hmm.
788 4239. Alternatively, emails can be sent to myself, Nadia Ebrahim, on Kokni Legacy Project at gmail.com.
Okay, so there we have it. You want to repeat it one more time, just so that in case somebody forgot or they
Sure.
didn't get to write it down, they can write it down
Okay.
now. But
So-
what we'll do is, later on, maybe you could just send us all the details so we could post that as well.
Of course. So just to reconfirm, my contact number is 082 788 4239, and the email address is Kokni Legacy Project at gmail.com.
Right. And then besides philanthropists and all these professionals and things like that, what about the everyday kind of person that, could have in the community created their own mark by maybe just uplifting people through basic development as far as certain things were concerned? Like you were saying, I mean, many of our grandfathers and great grandfathers just had normal stores, but the types of things that they did for the people in the community was amazing. So would you encourage people like that to also get involved in sending information?
Of course. Nafeesa, I'm not too sure in Johannesburg if there are many Kokni families that are involved with different
most definitely
with different societies. Or okay, let me explain. So in Cape Town, we've got families represented from different Indian villages from the Kokni region. So
Yes.
they created like a social society where
Okay.
once every
It's funny how you bring that up because I was just going to tell you about this. I'm actually on two Kokni groups, which I'm so honored the Kokni people actually haven't forgotten about me. So there's a Kokni Mastana group and the Kokni International group, and I've actually sent out a message to them to say that they should listen to this aspect of it. But I will definitely send them
sure.
the video so they could look at it and then of course get inspired to send somebody that's in their community or in their area or maybe in their own families for that matter,
Of
that
course.
have made a difference and a mark in a different aspect. I mean, that's not necessarily a philanthropist, but in whichever aspect they've made that difference or that empowerment or that upliftment, to send in, of course, their nominations through to
Yeah.
you. So in that way, yes, I have helped out in some way.
So basically, Nafeesa, what I'm saying, so basically, if there are people who know who do have feeding schemes at the local masjid, or if they assisted in, having zikr jamas at their homes, those are all ways of uplifting and empowering our
Exactly.
communities. Because I know in Cape Town very much, especially in our Malta society, like our families and friends whose ancestors came from Malta, we're very well known to have like every in the Islamic month we normally have like a zikr jamas, or
Yes.
we have feeding schemes, just as an example. But there are so many other people from different Indian girls where they have active societies here in Cape Town that have left such a valuable mark, not just in our corporate communities, but in different walks of life here in Cape Town. And we don't just want to we want every person to come through with a story of from their family members, be it the grandparents, the uncle, the aunts, the parents, who came from India to South Africa and who they feel have left a valuable mark in their life.
Most definitely. And we're enticing all these people on. And in Johannesburg, as I said, the Kokni International and Kokni Mastana group has gotten that information. So I'm hoping that they send those things through to you because there's inspirational people in every area here. And as you were saying, from all the different gams, there's plenty of Koknis from different gams that are living in Johannesburg. So I'm hoping that this talk will reach out to them to be able to entice them to send all the necessary information through and get those important people out there. Because as I say, our ancestors are people we can learn from. The types of things that they did, I mean, they were very grounded and didn't have the technology that we have today. But the types of things that they could create with the little they had, I think, was absolutely phenomenal. And that's what's important about this particular project. It's, I think, showing us that.
Yes, that is correct. And the thing is, like I think with what's been happening around us with COVID and lockdown, I think for a lot of us, we've lost a lot of members of families or close family friends, unfortunately due to the COVID pandemic. And it's just been a big eye opener for me, especially that life is so short. And I, for one, would like to document as many family members and friends who are still alive and well, who I could speak to and interview and have their submissions in the book. And also to encourage many people out there to please come forward with your stories or anecdotes of family members and friends, because it's hard to say this, for all living on borrowed time, but the time is now to make that positive impact on our community in the way of this publication, so that future generations can read up on our ancestors and people who have left positive impacts on our lives.
What does this mean for you and your team? Because I mean, it's a phenomenal project, and there's a lot having to go into it.
So, on behalf of myself, Rihanna Parker and Mansoor Rimani, who's assisting me on the project, for us, it's something we call it our baby, something very special to us, because each of us have strong links to our Kokni heritage and our families, and the villages where our family ancestors come from back in India. And for us, it's just something really special to be able to be putting something like this together. And they share the same sentiments, that they also feel, now's the perfect time to document the life stories and the lives of many Kokni people, not just in South Africa, but from all over the world. And we just want to make this a really special project, not just for us, but for each and every person who will be putting through a submission for the project.
Yes, no, I understand the purpose behind this. It's absolutely amazing. It's nice to see that, young people like yourselves have actually taken on something as humongous and monumental as this, where it's going to be a legacy that's going to be left there forever, for generations to come.
Of course. And I mean, Nafeesa, firstly, thank you to you and your team for having me on board on today's show. And I mean, I will send through my contact details to you and Zakia. And if anyone would like to reach out to me or have a story or just want to find out more information, you're welcome to contact me.
Most definitely. What message would you like to leave for our viewers this afternoon as far as yourself and your team is concerned and this project?
Well, for me, I just would like everyone to, to take heed of, not just this project, but if you are different, if you are listeners and viewers from different walks of life listening into our show this afternoon, is, start documenting your life stories today. Life is so short, and if you or family or friends have given so much value and of your time to everyone else, now's the time to document your life story, because it will mean something. It will mean something more. It will mean more to someone in the future.
Yeah, that's so true. I so agree with you. I want to wish you nothing but the best going forward with the project, and you have our support. I think it's something absolutely amazing where you're enticing other people to look at people that have made differences in different aspects of fields of life. And, showcasing to them that you don't have to, it's not necessarily just a Kokni, but I mean, we're celebrating our heritage here, but also for them to look at it from the point of view, and I'm talking about non-Koknis here, is to say, this person has done something so phenomenal and has left their legacy and their mark behind. In which way am I going to follow in their footsteps? What is it that I'm going to take from them and incorporate into my life to create my own legacy?
Yeah. Nafeesa, there's one important part I left out from our talk, is that with regards to the submissions, there are no costs involved to submit your submission or nomination for the person that you'd like to nominate. So, and of course, with regards to the photography and the size of the article, people can always just contact me on my contact details, and I'm happy to speak to them one-on-one.
Sure.
About the submissions.
Okay, great. I think that'll help and iron out some of the questions that they may have. So
Yes,
they have gotten the details there, as you responded earlier. So I'm hoping that everybody gets in touch with you and that you get this project going in a great way. But for myself and the team, we want to thank you for joining us and inspiring us this afternoon to make us understand the importance of course, appreciating people and the legacies they leave behind. And we couldn't have learned better from the father of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. And it's having to say that, we're taking these legacies and how do we move them forward as family members to see that this person has done this in our family. Are we going to carry on with their legacy, or what is it that we can do? Because, I mean, all of us don't have the same aspirations, and create our own from there. So I think the purpose behind it is absolutely phenomenal.
Yes, that's right. But Nafeesa, shukran so much to you again and to your team for having me on the show today. And to everyone listening in, thank you for your time for listening in. And I look forward to hearing from everyone about this project, inshallah. Ameen.
Ameen. Thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you nothing but the best going forward.
Shukran so much, Nafeesa.
We hope to hear from you soon.
Inshallah, Ameen. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Nadia Ebrahim talking to us about the Kokni Legacy Project, where they're trying to, of course, look at all the legends that were in that community and how they enticed and empowered people into better spaces, moved them into better places, and the amazing things they've done. So I think that's something to go back to and look at and get in touch with Nadia and send those submissions in. We're going to go for a quick break. We'll be back with you in a few minutes.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
It's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, yet many children go to school hungry because of poverty. Penny Appeal's Breakfast Club aim to get a warm, hearty meal to underprivileged children so they can spend the day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner by visiting our website on www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
DoosieMed Medicine Depot Retail Pharmacy and Emergency Medical Depot. Conveniently situated in the DoosieMed Medical Center, Corner Burger and Boshoff Street, Pietermaritzburg. We provide safe, affordable and convenient medical facilities. Open till 10 p.m. every day of the year. We have a full house clinic that operates from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., which is run by a qualified sister. The clinic offers immunization, vaccine,